Hello, my name is Paula Kuhumbu and I'm the Executive Director of WildlifeDirect, an internet-based conservation organisation that aims to enable anybody, anywhere in the world, to participate in conservation right here in Africa. I'm so sorry that I couldn't be with you today, but I do hope that this video helps you to understand what we're trying to do in building this global community and persuades you to partner with us, to enable us to save Africa's spectacular wildlife and at the same time to protect those businesses that depend on it.
One of the things that we Africans often take for granted is the fact that our continent is unique. What we have here has disappeared elsewhere. Our large mammals, elephants, rhinos, lions and hippos, and our animal migrations, they're unmatched. Our landscapes are iconic, and I grew up, like most of us here, believing that this would stay with us forever. As an ecologist, I've become alarmed at the rate at which wildlife is declining across the African continent. It affects all of us, but especially those who depend on the wildlife assets. The most significant challenge we face in saving Africa's wildlife is adequate funding. Richard Leakey has been at the forefront of looking for new ways to support conservation across Africa, to raise enough funds to keep our parks alive and to help those conservationists at the front lines who have no voice. He believes that anyone, anywhere, can be a conservationist. And he started WildlifeDirect as a way of connecting people working in the field directly with those who care, using blogs. Anyone, anywhere in the world can read the daily stories from the field and support any project of their choice. In a way, WildlifeDirect serves as the connective tissues between conservationists and their supporters. Now, we hope to include businesses who also depend on wildlife to create a movement powerful enough to respond to any conservation crisis. And I can't tell you how important this is. We now know so much more about the ecology of individual species and their needs than when we first set up the parks in Africa so many years ago. The areas around and between parks are just as important for wildlife as the core of our protected areas. Keeping the corridors alive is critical, especially in this world of increasing environmental pressures. And that's why we support small, dedicated and isolated conservationists that others may not have heard of. And I'd like to tell you the story about Anthony Kasanga. He's one of our bloggers, and he's also the head of the Lion Guardians project. Like all Maasai warriors, Anthony is expected to protect his community who live in a vast wild landscape between the Tsavo National Park and Amboseli in southern Kenya. His initiation to manhood includes killing a lion, but Anthony loves lions. So he has rebelled against his tribe and enlisted his friends to help him. They formed a group of young men who call themselves the Lion Guardians. They stop hunting parties from killing lions. They protect livestock from predation, and they ensure that compensation is paid for every cow or goat that is lost to lions. Anthony tells his daily story from the field, taking his readers on a virtual safari, visiting communities, tracking lions, stopping the hunting parties, and bringing his readers right into his home and into his mind. Thousands of people follow Anthony and respond to his stories. He's raised over $18,500 to pay for the salaries of rangers and to buy a motorbike for his group. And we estimate that his group has prevented over 50 lions from being killed. Now that's huge. There are only 2,000 lions left in Kenya. Anthony's story is so powerful for us, but it's potentially powerful for you too. Conservationists tend to gather information and re-inhabit an academic world. Businesses inhabit a commercial world. It's as though we live in these parallel universes. To address the challenges facing conservation today, we need to destroy these barriers and work together. After all, everyone has something to gain. We believe that the networks we're creating are as useful to you as they are to us. We know hundreds of people read Anthony's blog every day. They respond to his needs, inquire about his work, and cover the basic costs of the Lion Guardians. They've spontaneously created a community of supporters who communicate among themselves. We give them the tools, not only to follow that experience, but to participate in it. What does this mean for you? Well, we've tapped into a core of African enthusiasts, people who love our wildlife enough to read about it every day and to donate to our projects. They are a potential market for your companies, interested, engaged, and with a disposable income. At the same time, you have access to clients that we believe would be interested in staying involved in conservation long after they've left our shores. You can sponsor our projects that line up with your own areas of specialty. By directing your clients to WildlifeDirect before they arrive, you can help them to develop an understanding of what's happening on the ground. Your company advertisement on WildlifeDirect will underline that commitment and at the same time attract potential clients already visiting our site. And by introducing your clients to our wildlife stories, they'll be able to follow the real-life soap operas of conservationists and the animals that they work with and keep them engaged long after they've gone. To gear up the existing online community, to connect and expand it and enhance its impact, we need to do 3 things. First, we need to train all our bloggers. They need to be expert storytellers. We provide the training and we help them to convey compelling stories to readers that turn them into donors. They need equipment as well as continuous technical support and encouragement. Second, we must ensure integrity. The network depends on trust. It must be fully transparent and accountable. We're constantly assessing and evaluating our bloggers to ensure that only credible organisations benefit from donations. Finally, WildlifeDirect has to remain at the cutting edge. Our partners like the National Geographic expect us to continue to be the best in the field. We must remain fresh, tapping into new social networking tools to give people reasons to keep returning. We know that tourists are a key part of the solution to saving Africa's wildlife. They've already committed and they've already had a real taste of the experience. What we offer is an opportunity for them to stay connected. This is a concept that we know works. Dana, a tourist to Kenya, has become something of a wildlife evangelist. Her holiday experience in Africa used to begin when she stepped off the aeroplane and ended when she buckled up on departure. But after discovering WildlifeDirect, she found a new passion for Africa. She encountered a network of like-minded people. She could follow any project she liked. She identified with the Lion Guardians, and that gave her reason not just to return to Kenya, but to bring her friends and support the project in a way that simply would not have been possible without us. With the support of people like Dana, the Lion Guardians have been able to send Anthony Kasanga to Oxford University. Through WildlifeDirect, we can provide a way of extending the experience of tourists to Africa in both directions and strengthening the bonds between the visitors and the continent. Join us in turning tourists into evangelists in a way that helps us to save Africa's unique wildlife heritage while protecting the future of your businesses.
As I mentioned earlier, the problem facing Africa's wildlife is just too big for any one of us to solve on our own. So check out our website, get in touch, and let's start working together.